It is 11:45 on a Friday night. Max is dragging his feet out of a commercial office building downtown. He has been working overtime all week to the point of exhaustion, walking through the dark, empty lobby. Max swipes his card to buy an energy drink from the vending machine in the corner. Beep. The screen flashes, confirming the transaction. That lifeless machine just spat out a can and quietly collected $3 in pure profit. Max freezes. The entire building is dark. There are no employees working. There is no boss paying for this midnight shift. But that vending machine is still silently printing money. This is a brutal macroeconomic reality that the education system will never teach you. 72% of Americans are struggling to find a second source of income, just to fight off the inflation that is eating away their purchasing power. And how do they solve this equation? They sell the only asset they have, which is their time. They drive for rideshare apps on weekends. They take on freelance projects at night. They pick up extra shifts at the bar. They think they are building a second income stream, but in reality, they are just locking themselves into a second job. The math is ruthless. You are strictly capped at 24 hours a day. You cannot hustle past the physical limits of the human body. But a machine is different. A machine does not sleep. A digital product does not call in sick. And a system never asks for a raise. Michael Gerber calls this the system principle. The businesses that actually create wealth, the people in the top 1%, do not build assets by selling their labor. They build systems, machines capable of running themselves when they are not there. The data doesn't lie. Businesses operated by automated systems have a 98% success rate, compared to the dismal 20% failure rate of those who try to do everything manually in their first year. So, how do you start building these systems? Let's break them down into 3 levels of capital allocation, from $0 to multi-million-dollar cash flow empires. Level 1. Low barrier. Infinite scalability. This is your playground. When you have a lot of ambition, but lack capital, you need models with near zero marginal costs and infinite scalability. First is print on demand. The economics of this model are incredibly smart. You create a design, an illustration, or a catchy phrase, and upload it to a platform. When a customer orders a t-shirt with that design, the partner company automatically prints, packages, ships, and handles customer service. You never have to worry about inventory. There is no risk of tied-up capital, because your production cost is zero. Your profit margins hover at a massive 70 to 90%. Startup capital, practically zero. Next are digital products. This could be an online course, a financial template bundle, or an ebook summarizing your skills. The economies of scale here are absolute. Creating the product requires an upfront payment in sweat and brain power, maybe weeks of grinding. But once it is finished, it becomes a digital asset. You sell it to one person or 1 million people at the exact same cost. It closes a sale at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday to a stranger in a completely different time zone. You do the work once, and the system pays you forever. Level 2. Micro real estate and physical cash machines. Once you have stacked some capital from level 1, it is time to move to level 2, bringing your cash flow into the real world. Most people have no idea that you can actually own a private ATM. The CapEx, or capital expenditure, is around $3,000 for one machine. You find a high-traffic location, a gas station, a small barber shop, or a convenience store. You negotiate a profit share to place the machine, and you load it with cash. Let's analyze the return on investment, or ROI. Every time someone withdraws money, you collect an average transaction fee of about $3. A well-placed machine handles about 300 transactions a month. That is $900 in revenue from a $3,000 investment. A cash-on-cash return of up to 30% every single month. Wall Street hedge funds would do anything to get those numbers. And your time commitment? Half an hour a week to restock the cash and check the system. Vending machines operate on the exact same retail arbitrage principle. You spend $2,000 to buy the machine, buy inventory at wholesale prices, and sell it at retail prices in a captive market. It is an incredibly boring business model. But you know what? Boredom creates the most sustainable cash flows. An excellent operator can make $300,000 a year working just 4 hours a week. They don't trade time for money. They own an automated sales army. Level 3, the macro game and economic moats. This is the final destination, where the true wealth of the elite is parked. Did you know the laundromat industry generates $5 billion a year in the US alone? True, the barrier to entry is massive. Build-out costs range from $200,000 to $600,000. But in return, monthly revenue can hit $30,000. Most importantly, it is a highly defensive asset. During an economic recession, people might stop eating at restaurants, but they still need to wash their clothes. Modern laundromats operate 100% on card payment systems and remote monitoring apps on your phone. But the true king of passive income, the model with the widest and deepest economic moat, is self-storage. On the outside, they are just rows of metal buildings with boring rolling doors. But peel back that layer, and you will find a cash flow masterpiece. The recurring operating costs are almost zero. No on-site employees needed, no inventory management risks, because the customers bring their own stuff to store. The system runs everything. Tenants register online. Rent is automatically deducted from their credit cards monthly. Late fees apply automatically. Electronic gates grant access automatically. And here is the craziest detail. The average customer rents a storage unit for over 14 months. That is 14 months of automated cash flow, repeating over and over, from one customer acquired only once. This is the system principle in its purest state. A real estate machine, generating money through an automated system, not through sweat and labor. But what if you are thinking, I want real estate returns, but I don't have $1.5 million to build a storage facility? This is when you use one of the most powerful weapons in finance: leverage. Welcome to the model. Airbnb rental arbitrage. The truth is, you do not need to own the property. Listen closely. You do not buy the house. You don't need a 30-year bank mortgage. Instead, you rent a long-term apartment with the landlord's written permission. You invest a small capital of $5,000 to $10,000 to furnish it and list it on short-term rental platforms like Airbnb. The spread between the fixed monthly rent you pay and the dynamic nightly revenue you earn is your profit. And of course, you have to systematize it. You automate your pricing adjustments with AI software. You automate the cleaning by partnering with a local service crew. You automate the check-in process with smart locks. You are using leverage on someone else's asset to build your own cash flow system. 7 business models, 7 different systems, but they all share the same core DNA, working on the business instead of getting stuck in the business. But you know what? This is the real barrier. This is where 99% of people fail. They watch a detailed analysis video like this. They feel fired up. They open 40 browser tabs. They research frantically for 3 straight weeks. Save dozens of YouTube videos to their watch later playlist. And then, they do absolutely nothing. They fall victim to analysis paralysis. They become brilliant experts at preparation and miserable amateurs at execution. The truth is, all 7 of these systems make money. The question is not which model is the most perfect or the least risky. The real question is, which model can you commit to this week? With the capital you have in your hands right now. Start with a digital product. Stack your first dollars of profit. Buy your first ATM or vending machine. And use that exact cash flow to reinvest into larger assets. Right now, somewhere in the world, those automated machines are still running. Those algorithms are still distributing digital products. The machines don't care if you are tired. The systems don't care if you are awake or asleep. The money will still show up. It is time to stop selling your time so cheaply. Pick a system, start building it, and let it run, even while you are fast asleep.